Today we're going to discuss one of the three energy systems that we need to use when we train for conditioning. The one we're going to discuss today is going to be anaerobic alactic. Also, there's anaerobic lactic and aerobic. Training residuals. Training residuals is the ability to maintain that training quality if we were to stop it at that point. So today, if I stop doing any type of power exercises, I'd have 2 to 8 day window where I lose any residual effect. For aerobic, where if I were to build an aerobic base for myself and I just completely stopped today, I'd have about a 25 to 35 day window. Okay. Anaerobic alactic, that's going to be short bursts of 100% intensity on every single set, every single rep. Some examples are max effort lifting, like a max effort squat, max effort bench press, max effort deadlift. Some sprints, again, on the shorter side, not a long distance, anything over 100 yards, that would be considered anaerobic alactic. Some jumps, any type of max effort jump, any type of max effort vertical jump, max effort broad jump, and any type of Olympic lifting as well. Why do we need power? For athletes, we need power for explosiveness, for speed. We want to be able to move as fast as we can at all times. Also, for the general population, we want to be able to react if we fall. We want to be able to make sure we're able to react fast. Now we're going to go over some basic guidelines for anaerobic alactic training. The first one we're going to talk about is our work. Our work is going to stay in that 5 to 15 second range. Anything more than that, that brings it to a lactic state. Our rest. Our rest is going to stay in between the 2 to 5 minute, just so we can get our heart rate down to about 120 beats per minute. Our volume. Our volume is going to be 1 to 3 exercises per session. We don't want to have a session where we're doing 5 or 6 exercises. That's going to really burn us out there. Sets and reps. Depends. It really depends where you are in your training stage, your training age, where you're at in your off season, or anything like that. Frequency. Frequency is going to be 1 to 2 sessions per week. Very rarely will you go more than 2 sessions per week of anaerobic state. Anything more than that, you can really do some damage on the central nervous system. All right, so now we're going to go over some examples of an anaerobic training session. The first one we have here is going to be more of a full body, where we're doing a lower body exercise and an upper body exercise in the same training session. The first one we have here is a 20-yard sprint. For 20-yard sprint, we want to stick to about a 2-minute rest. I like to say for every 10 yards, take a minute rest. So 10-yard sprint, take a minute rest, 20-yard sprint, take a 2-minute rest, so on and so on. For 20-yard sprint, I would like to stay in the 5 rep range. Again, depends on the training age of the athlete, depends on where they're at in their season, but ideally you don't really want to go in higher than anything with 5 reps for a 20-yard sprint. The second exercise we're going to do is a 10-second plyo push-up, where we're just going non-stop 10 seconds. Because that's not going to be as taxing as the 20-yard sprint, we'll stick to more of the 2-minute rest in that exercise. Again, we'll go about 6 reps on that exercise as well. And the second example we have is max effort squat. I personally don't like to use the true 1 RM anymore. I feel like it gets a little bit sketchy and it gets a little bit risky with trying to hit a true 1 rep max. So that we're going to work up to a 3 RM. For that, we're going to stick to about a 3 to 5 minute rest. Again, everyone's different. Some people are going to be more on the 3-minute side. Some people are going to be more on the 5-minute side. Again, we're going to stick to about 2 to 3 sets. Again, depends on where you're at in your training, but ideally, when you're working with that kind of weight and that kind of intensity, you really want to stick in that 2 to 3, 2 to maybe even 4 set range. Okay, so to wrap things up, whenever we're training anaerobically, we want to make sure we're able to give 100% effort on every single set and every single rep. So when we're taking that 3 to 5 minute rest, doesn't mean that we're not doing anything, we're not working hard. We're just making sure we're fully recovered so we can get the most out of that training.